Under the veil of night, Zhang Fan watches the camp like a hawk. The silence is broken by Ding Hao's complaints, only to be instantly frozen by the master's icy, calculating stare. In the center of the battlefield, Xiaohua Keisher erupts like a wild beast, blasting enemies away with terrifying force. The rage suppressed for 2 days finally explodes, every strike echoing his roar against this absurd mission. Facing the doubts, the cruel truth is unveiled. The so-called barbarian royalty perished a century ago. The current title of Left Gully King is nothing but a heavy, hollow crown worn by the strongest warrior. As they speak of the slaughter of innocents, the air thickens with tension. Faced with questions of justice, the only answer is cold reality. On the battlefield, victors write history, while the cries of the weak mean nothing beneath the blade. Killing intent boils over as Shatua plunges from the sky. With the force of a thunderbolt, his blade becomes a declaration of death, aiming straight for the terrified enemy below. With a deafening boom, a vortex of blue energy explodes. The terrifying impact shatters debris and bodies alike, a crushing display of power and the tragic venting of a desperate king. Amidst the chaos, past warnings echo in his ears. For the last shred of dignity, for the shattered glory of his tribe, the doomed hero shoulders his heavy burden, swinging his blade in desperation. The gates remain shut. His plea to see the crown prince is coldly rejected. The only response is the deafening war cry of the Zhenbei army, making the lone hero look desolate and insignificant amidst the siege. In the freezing rain, Shatua drains his cup of strong wine. The burning taste brings a smile of resignation. With no way back, he decides to end his life story with one last blaze of glory. In the distance, the army stands like an iron wall amidst towering flames. Yet in the safety of the rear, officials and eunuchs casually discuss the battle, their words dripping with arrogance and indifference toward the lives of soldiers. Caring little for victory, Scholar Chen breaks into a cold sweat, fearing only for the noble one's safety. On this chessboard of power, the barbarian king's mad charge hangs over their heads like a guillotine. Ultimate irony. While soldiers bleed outside, lewd laughter echoes from the opulent sedan. The sixth prince's disguise is flawless, forcing his guards to witness a slice of the empire's rotting corruption in shock and embarrassment. The battlefield is a meat grinder. Shadawa breaks 8 formations single-handedly, but is reaching his limit. Meanwhile, a hand resting lightly on a table suggests this bloody spectacle is merely a chip for the powerful to flex their muscles. Finally, the mask drops. Standing by the window, the sixth prince's eyes are void of emotion. He coldly watches the distant flames, quietly asking if the pawn has burnt out, a chilling display of imperial calculation. Flashback to the night before the final battle, the campfire crackling. Shadawa chews on roast meat, his eyes dead. Facing Zhang Fan's question, he admits he's no match for the Northern Army. Revenge is just a way to seek death. Behind the glory lies endless desolation. He whispers his origin, not royalty, just a member of the small Shadawa tribe. The prestigious assassinations and battles were merely tragedies forced upon him by fate. A warrior's tears are the most heartbreaking. Knowing his tribe was wiped out, his world collapsed long ago. Now, he humbly begged Zhang Fan to stage one last play, sacrificing his life to defend a mere hollow title. I agree. Zhang Fan's answer is crisp, shocking the death-seeking Shadawa. In this chaotic world of deceit, such an unquestioning promise burns hotter than the strong wine in his hand. The reason becomes clear. 2 timid children step out from behind Shadawa, the last bloodline of his tribe. The rugged warrior gently shields them, entrusting this final hope to the stranger before him. The deal is struck. Looking at the heavy burden of these orphans, a glint appears in Zhang Fan's eyes. Returning to his role as a ruthless leader, he coldly orders the site cleared, readying the stage for their upcoming grand performance. Under the cover of night, Blind Bei and Xin Yang lock their gaze onto the carriage bearing the black dragon flag. Realizing the figure trapped below is their master, Zhang Fan, a carefully orchestrated rescue begins to unfold in the darkness. Meanwhile, the sixth prince faces a life-or-death decision. Knowing he stands no chance against the terrifying barbarian, his only hope is to stall using the Northern Marquis's name, a gamble that drags his own sister into the chaos. The night is dark, but the ambition in the prince's eyes is darker still. Knowing the brutality of the succession struggle, he must utilize every pawn in this game against the second prince, even if it means provoking the royal guards. Slaughter erupts instantly. The barbarian brute fights like a god of war from hell, limbs flying with every swing of his axe. As the shadow of death descends, guards scream for the prince to flee, their defense crumbling before absolute power. With no retreat possible, the sixth prince stops hiding his strength. In this life-or-death moment, he erupts with brilliant blue energy, using his royal status to intimidate the pursuers as he carves a bloody path through the desperation. Thunder gathers in his palm as a violent wave of energy blasts forward. This strike, charged with the prince's will to survive, instantly sends the armored giant flying, the night sky bleached pale by the sheer force. The tide of battle shifts in an instant, yet the calm in the prince's eyes remains unshaken. Seizing the chaos of the energy burst, Scholar Chun makes a decisive retreat. This is a flight relying on endurance and wit. The aerial battle rages on as they clash atop the massive wooden platform. Terrifying shockwaves shatter the structure beneath their feet, dust rising as if the world itself is collapsing under the destructive force. Just as the defense is about to crumble, a dark figure rises with blazing fire. With death-defying arrogance, the young warrior slams head-on into the enemy's heavy fist, a deafening crash echoing through the skies. Break! With a furious roar, energy explodes at point-blank range. Though Zhang Fan repels the enemy, the backlash tears through him. Blood spurts out, his golden pupils filled with pain and unyielding resolve. Though the battle was brutal, it bought them a moment of respite. As the smoke clears, the chapter of survival comes to a temporary close. After an unknown amount of time, Zhang Fan struggles to wake in a luxurious chamber. Beside him, the sixth prince has dropped his playful facade, solemnly informing him that blocking the barbarian's sword nearly cost him his life. Upon waking, Zhang Fan's first question is about the barbarian's fate. Learning that Shadawa Kaishur died of exhaustion after severely injuring a general and taking hundreds of cavalry with him, a solemn air of a hero's inn fills the room. The image of that figure standing amidst a mountain of corpses surfaces in his mind, stirring a mix of emotions. Though a mortal enemy met only briefly, a nameless sorrow wells up in Zhang Fan's heart upon hearing of the savage god's death. The sixth prince offers comfort, yet his words reveal a cold rationality. Suddenly, an announcement from outside breaks the mood. The all-powerful princess has arrived. Grief is cut short. A new game of power begins. A shocking scene unfolds as the unruly sixth prince unhesitatingly drops to his knees. As the imposing princess and the white-haired elder behind her step in, Zhang Fan instantly realizes the terrifying status of the arrival. Facing his sister's cold mockery, the sixth prince smiles humbly, playing the role of the obedient brother. Zhang Fan watches warily, sensing the lethal undercurrents of the royal family beneath this seemingly casual conversation. Realizing his days, Zhang Fan hurriedly kneels on one knee. The princess's all-seeing eyes instantly lock onto him. Though she speaks of meeting again, her scrutinizing gaze feels as if it's piercing right through him. Zhang Fan adopts the posture of a loyal subject, claiming he was merely doing his duty. However, a rough hand suddenly clamps onto his wrist, green energy flickering. Clearly buying none of the official rhetoric, they're testing his true strength directly. The test results shock the entire room. The white-haired elder cries out in disbelief. Zhang Fan, previously without foundation, is now a rank 9 warrior. This inconceivable speed of ascension instantly pushes suspicion to its peak. In the grand hall, the atmosphere is suffocating. Kneeling before the most powerful figures of Yan, Zhang Fan calculates rapidly. Being a dog for the powerful isn't necessarily a bad thing. Facing the princess's interrogation, Zhang Fan shows no fear. He bluntly admits the massacre was for money and women. This vulgar yet honest confession actually draws an approving smile from the silver-haired elder. When asked about saving the sixth prince, Zhang Fan shrugs, admitting it was a staged act with the barbarian. The princess pauses, then bursts into laughter. This nobody is indeed not simple. Meanwhile, night falls. A messenger brings a request from the barbarian court for the corpse. The princess's eyes turn cold. They want the body back? Keep dreaming. She will hang it for 7 days to display her power. In the eyes of this iron commander, if not for limited troops, she would dare to march south and take the Yang capital. Her ambition, like a spark in the night, is ready to start a prairie fire. Sponsorship page, brief pause, story continues. The moment the princess leaves, the submissive sixth prince instantly drops the act. He sighs in relief, collapsing into the chair. Huff, finally gone. Zhang Fan crosses his arms. watching this royal mask change coldly. The sixth prince raises his glass, his gaze sharpening instantly. Don't give me that loyalty nonsense. I want the truth. Why did you save a waste like me? Zhang Fan smirks with amusement. Because you are the sixth prince. That's all. This naked exchange of interests actually sounds like music to the prince's ears. They exchange a smile, reaching an instant understanding. The prince mocks himself as a pleasure-seeking waste, while Zhang Fan thinks, being an idle prince is literally my life's dream. Often, it's waste like you who ends up on that throne. Zhang Fan points out the truth. The prince falls silent, a chill of being seen through flashing in his eyes. The atmosphere grows heavy, so the sixth prince immediately switches to a gentle mask to break the ice. Enough of this. Let me pour you tea, then we'll go get some good food. The so-called feast turns out to be a roadside mutton noodle shop. Slurping noodles, the prince complains about the terrible food at the mansion and gossips about his sister's stress-eating habits. Chatting casually, the prince reveals he owns this shop. Zhang Fan, however, is distracted, scanning the room, terrified that the demoness Xin Yang might pop out from a corner. Without my subordinates, I feel uneasy, Zhang Fan sighs. Hearing this, the prince puts down his bowl, his eyes revealing a longing for true power and freedom. Night falls, and they stand on the tower. Looking at the prince's calculating face, Zhang Fan can't help but tease. The word treacherous is written all over your face. You'll go far. Since we're here, why not take a stroll? The prince suggests. Walking side by side through the busy night market, they find themselves drifting toward the bright lights, the paradise for men. In the red light district, music and laughter fill the air. Though sweating nervously, the prince pretends to be calm. How can a man have enough women? Come, let me show you around. At the entrance, the prince suddenly gets cold feet, using his injury as an excuse. Zhang Fan smirks, ready to tease, when suddenly, a hand with purple nail polish grabs his wrist tightly. Sir, come and play with me. A seductive voice whispers. Zhang Fan freezes. This familiar tone, this dangerous aura. Could it be? A strange scent lingers, bringing a flush to the sixth prince's cheeks, which quickly hardens into an arrogant humph. That scent belongs to a dangerous being, Xin Yang. With flowing purple hair and eyes like daggers, she exudes a suffocating dominance, as if locking onto prey. Back inside, Xin Yang, eyes full of heartache, insists on magically sewing his wounds, but Zhang Fan gently holds her hand to soothe her. The doctor will handle it tomorrow. Zhang Fan calmly refuses, shifting the topic to the old minister seeking a disciple and the seemingly idle sixth prince. As he wrestles with the decision to stay or go, a rude shout from outside suddenly shocks them both, breaking the heavy atmosphere. Committing to the act, Xin Yang lets out blushing moans, while Zhang Fan sits in the darkness, his expression dead silent and calculating. On the roof, the night breeze is cool. The sixth prince is jealous of the noise, while Zhang Fan masks the awkwardness with flirty banter. As they chat, the view pans out. The blood-red sunset illuminates the withered corpse hanging from the city wall. Shadawa Keishur, a tragic hero. Gazing at the land that has swallowed countless lives, the sixth prince drops his smile, his eyes revealing 1,000 years of weariness. Barbarian cavalry, imperial pressure. The sixth prince speaks eloquently. Beneath the mask of a lecher lies a heart deeply worried for the nation. Where is the Yin kingdom's weakness? Facing the test, Zhang Fan looks him in the eye and gives the fatal answer: the imperial family. The problem is clear, but the solution? The sixth prince's smile turns cold as he spits out that blood-scented word: war. Maniacal laughter shatters the silence. The prince declares his fathers were like a madman, then instantly turns cold, warning Zhang Fan to know his place. As they part, gold changes hands. Zhang Fan casually asks for oranges, bringing this probing meeting to a close with hidden meaning. Deep in the night, Zhang Fan lays out offerings. A cup of wine for the barbarian god, for the heroic soul, for the friend who died for his people. He kowtows heavily toward the corpse on the gate. The moment his forehead touches the ground marks a sorrowful farewell to a peerless warrior. The scene shifts. At the end of a deep corridor, the sixth prince has removed his armor, resuming his unfathomable noble demeanor while reading. Toying with the perfume provided by Zhang Fan, the sixth prince's eyes gleam with merchant shrewdness, already plotting a massive trade layout. However, the maid Shui Ping senses something amiss. She cautiously asks to investigate Zhang Fan, and the air instantly freezes. You heard a woman's voice? The sixth prince interrupts sharply, his stern rebuke covering the truth and snuffing out the spark of danger. High upon the carved throne, the sixth prince's voice is cold as iron, scolding the kneeling Chui Ping. But seeing her tears, the hand that commands life and death gently strokes her cheek, sighing, "Don't cry. After all, you are my savior." The atmosphere shifts abruptly. With a smirk, the sixth prince speaks of the fierce left Gully King as if discussing an old friend. But the purple-haired woman opposite him has no patience for jokes, her eyes alert as she reports, "We caught him. That man, Su Wenzu, actually tried to sneak into the manor." A flicker of amusement crosses the sixth prince's eyes as he casually orders the intruder sent away. But before his words fade, the departing woman suddenly screams. The calm air is instantly torn apart. Unknown danger has arrived. Fear floods his pupils, sweat dripping down. The warning came too late. Blood has already stained the floor. The woman collapsing in the pool of blood forces a broken smile, claiming this is merely a simple greeting, sending chills down the spine. Meanwhile, deep in the desert, the peaceful campfire is shattered by bewitching purple flames. Xinjiang steps forth from the darkness, radiating queen-like dominance. In this boundless desert, what are the odds I'd run into you? Facing the corpse monster wanting to capture someone to make babies, Xinjiang lets out a cold laugh, eyes full of disdain. Just enter the desert and already in heat? Do zombies breed like cockroaches? Her words, sharp as knives, instantly puncture his absurd notion. The misunderstanding clears, and a trace of anxiety flickers in Liang Cheng's glowing red eyes. Is the master in danger? Upon learning Zheng Fan is safe, the two demons quickly reach a tacit understanding under the stars. Loyalty is their only common ground. By the firelight, Ali's innocent yet creeping courtship amuses Xinjiang. When Liang Qing asks about her progress with the master, Xinjiang closes her eyes, a victor's intoxicated smile surfacing on her face. Heh, I finally have the master all to myself. Just as Xinjiang gets carried away in her role as mistress, Liang Cheng spins around, his red eyes blazing with ferocity. The air freezes as his deep growl betrays unease. I can feel it. Something is coming. The camera pans to the distance, where an evil ritual spins madly in the dark night. Four robed figures chant around the fire, while the horned giant roars to the sky, rolling red light surging like a sea of blood, heralding a coming catastrophe. The scene cuts to a mysterious, magical formation, golden runes flowing as a soul bound by chains looks down from the void. The gears of fate begin to turn. The imprisoned power awaits its moment to break free. Perfection. The old man with the golden crown watches with fanatical eyes. Before him, the body disintegrates under the scourge of green energy. Amidst the roar of agony, a terrifying dark potential is awakening. Boom! The suppressed energy finally erupts, instantly shattering the ancient architecture. Amidst flying debris, his eyes roll back like a demon from hell, his body engulfed in suffocating green hellfire. Golden light converges. An ultimate body, fusing a high-ranking warrior and a zombie physique, is born. The old man gazes at his masterpiece with satisfaction, while the figure watching from the side trembles in the gale, speechless before this abomination against nature. Just as they think success is within reach, mutation strikes. The beast in the center of the formation suddenly clenches its claws, shaking the Tai Chi disc violently. The triumph on the faces of the old man and the golden warrior instantly freezes, replaced by deep astonishment. Don't run. The golden-armored warrior roars, charging out to intercept the out-of-control monster. Shields rise like a forest on the battlefield, fire intertwining with rain, but what he faces is an unstoppable, desperate will. Even as the formation's lightning tears his flesh apart, the figure does not look back. The old man is baffled. This corpse puppet has no kin, so why charge desperately toward the south? And why perform such a solemn bow in that direction? The wind screams in his ears, yet Sha Tua Keishi's long-stopped heart ignites with obsession. Memories flood in. Someone once ignored the gods but lit 3 incense sticks for him, honoring him like a teacher. That respect is the only tether for his solitary soul. That bow was worth it. He roars deafeningly amidst the endless yellow sand. Since he accepted that offering, he will protect that person's safety. Even transformed into a corpse demon, I will break through this dragnet and return to my friend's side. Meanwhile, the dawn illuminates the brutal battlefield. The sixth prince looks over the slaughtered tribe, coldly mocking the savagery of the barbarians. But Zheng Fan gazes into the distance from his horse, his eyes profound. At the end of the slaughter, he sees not victory, but the unsolvable desolation of this chaotic world. Gazing at the dust of battle, the sixth prince shows no joy of victory, only cold calculation. Mere slaughter invites revenge. He utters a chilling word: culture. The blood-red sunset mirrors his sinister smile, using false faith to halt their production, ensuring they die, starving, yet smiling. This is the true poison to wipe out a race. Zhang Fan immediately catches on, adding corruption of the nobility to the mix. They exchange a knowing smile, sealing a pact of spiritual genocide amidst the desolate desert. Amidst the banter, the topic shifts to the core of power. The prince drops his smile, casually mentioning the general's recruitment, a subtle test of Zhang Fan's loyalty. The idle prince finally reveals his fangs, admitting he controls the empire's commerce. He urges Zhang Fan to head to the gentle, wealthy south, far from this northern hellscape. But Zhang Fan rejects comfort. He drops to one knee, his gaze as piercing as the northern wind. He chooses to stay in this brutal land, not just for the country, but to fulfill their shared ambition. The scene shifts abruptly, whispers of conspiracy cut short by the clash of steel. The duel is decided. A cold blade points at the fallen mysterious woman, the air heavy with killing intent. Into the stormy night, a violent surge of green energy erupts. All disguises and restraint are torn apart, leaving only a suffocating release of raw power.